So hello and welcome to Handmade Chelsea Online, an exhibitor live session. We are joined this afternoon by jeweller Annie Ruthven Taggart, who's actually joining us from her studio. Now this will be an interactive session, so please do pop open the comments box, which is the chat box at the bottom of the screen. And if you do have any questions for Annie, please do pop them in there, and then I can interject and ask Annie your questions. Now I'm going to pop over immediately to Annie. So Annie, welcome to your live session, and we're looking forward to having a root around and a peek behind the scenes.
Yeah, okay, great. Well, thanks very much, Alice. Hi everybody, thank you for joining me this morning for this live session. So this is my studio. This is where I work. I have a studio at home, so it's lovely. It's like kind of totally my space. And this is what I wanted to talk to you about, was a little bit about the inspiration of my jewellery. It's inspired by some coastal settings, by pebbles and rock formations. I'm going to get Ben to just pan up here on my wall, where I've got this collection, a little small part of the collection I have, of all the pebbles and shells and anemones and all sorts of things that inspire my work. So I initially get ideas from these shapes, and then I do lots of drawings, which I've got down. Some of them I've got on the bench down here. And these get interpreted into pieces. So I don't directly take pictures of shells and make shell jewellery. They're just a springboard for my ideas, and then they get abstracted. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to get Ben to pan around to show you my workroom, and I'm going to then concentrate on talking about my actual work today, rather than going into great detail about how I make everything, which could fill the whole 15 minutes. So this is my bench area. This is where I make all the jewellery, all the hard graft. All the jewellers will recognise this setup. And then panning round, rolling mill, very important part of my work with all the texturing that I do. And then this area here is all the shaping. This is a fly press. I do have a video of how I produce my shapes. Also, there is a video on the handmade site of the rolling mill and how I use it directly in my work. So this is the polishing area. And then finally, where all the sort of fiery pots and soldering stuff goes on behind me. And now what I really would like to talk to you about today is actually showing my work as if you were at the show with me, because we're all really missing the face-to-face interaction with clients and other makers as well. So I wanted to actually talk you through the work that I have on my page for sale this year with Handmade. And I think probably the best place to start, I'm going to get Ben to go down here to the pebble necklace. Now, this pebble necklace is probably one of the sort of first ranges that I have done. It's hollow formed shapes, and if you can see on here, each shape is handmade with a water texture impressed on it. So this is strung with rainbow fluorite, and this particular necklace is sort of a favourite of mine. It's lots of different colours. I'm going to pop it on and show you what it looks like. Now, even though it's quite a chunky piece, quick look in the mirror to make sure it's straight, the beads sort of flip up and down, which is quite nice. And although it looks quite chunky, it is actually very light because the shapes are hollow. I do a lot of large necklaces like this with little earrings to go with, or large earrings, but I also do a lot more finer things as well. So I'm just going to pop this off, and if Ben goes down to the table, down there, there we go. There we are. I'm going to put that one down here. I'm going to show you the range of jewellery that comes from the inspiration from the clam shells. These are favourite necklaces of mine that I've been doing for a while, because they've been quite popular with the little pearls, and they're part of my cluster range. And I think people really like them because they're very easy to put on with the shape that goes through. Again, I'm very kind of particular about catches, and the piece being seen in its entirety, so front and back, like the necklace with the necklace catches. I think it's important that the piece looks great all the way around. And then these have earrings to go with. And then I have a set of, you obviously have noticed already, I love working in colour. I use a lot of Marquise gems, I know you've got some gem people listening today. This particular one here is a topaz. Topaz is a very popular colour. It's a very beautiful bluey gemstone. And I like to make pieces where things are slightly at an angle. I don't do symmetry a lot. I think they need to be a little bit quirky, a little bit different from the average pendant. And again, this is a hollow shape. So though it looks quite large, it is actually very hollow and very light. I think I can probably say my work is very sculptural. I do like things to be very three-dimensional. I'm not really a jeweler who works with flat shapes. I like to bring shapes out and actually have the piece have a real feel and to feel very nice on. Now this range here has moved me on to a recent range that I've done. Now this is a necklace which is with overlapping shapes, and this is what's initiated my recent range. Wanting the shapes to just sort of hover together without any form of linking. And I'm going to talk about a little bit about more about that later on with my very latest range that I've really pushed that forward on. So this is a piece that it's on a cable, so very easy to wear, very light. I have made this and put it on a chain as well, because everybody wants cables, but it's very flexible, very easy to wear. And then for those, it also brings me on to talk about a range of jewellery which doesn't have stones on, because not everybody wants gem set jewellery. They prefer things just in silver and gold. And down here, I have got a range which is along the lines of the pendant I've just shown you, but this is in just gold and silver. And again, has that sculptural quality, the idea of the shapes overlapping and actually forming sort of one piece with little stud earrings to go with. So I go down to very simple pieces as well. So something like these little gold studs, which I think I've got a pair on. These are my go-to studs in the morning. So some pieces are more dressy, others are much more simple. And then the big thing, the cufflinks. Now, men's jewelry is a whole world on its own. Men can be quite conservative about cufflinks. You either go the Doctor Who sort of route, or you go for something that's a little bit more toned down. And these are a pair of cufflinks I do within this range, which is called my Oyster range. And I also do these ones, which are meant to be pebbles and little bubbles coming out of them. So I have a range of different styles of cufflinks. And also I have done cufflinks for women as well, which is great because you can get obviously cufflink shirts for women, which look fab. They look very stylish. And then this enters into a whole new little range of jewelry. Again, quite bold statements with studs, but again, very light, so very easy to wear. And they come in a range of silver and gold. So again, looking at the sort of inside and out of the shapes and mixing the two ideas here. Now, what I'd like to bring you on to talk about is also my pearl range, which I've got behind. Now, this was inspired initially a year or so back when I got an order to do a range of jewelry for someone's wedding. And they wanted something a little bit different, a little bit away from the twin set and pearls. So I went back to the idea of the clam shells and the pearls in between. And these are very sweet little earrings, again, quite three-dimensional, which is nice. You can actually see them. If you have short hair, they actually show out amongst the hair. And these little drop ones as well. So that's sort of a different slant on your pearl. These have the little shapes going all the way around. So if I show you the pendant, it's actually, again, you've got that sculptural feel. So it goes on any way you can wear it. And the pearl it's a very nice drop pull. It feels very nice on. And that comes in different lengths as well. Some people want to wear them a lot lower. This one's quite slidey. There we go. Is that going to stay? Yeah. So moving on to the range that I have particularly made for this show this year, and this is where the talk, where the name for the talk that I'm doing, from coastal shores to cabochon settings. This is a range of jewelry which deals just with cabochon stones. Now, cabochon stones, for those of you who don't know, are stones which are not faceted. They're very smooth. They come in all different shapes. So this is one of my key pieces here. This is a ring, which the show has very kindly used quite a lot in pushing out for the show and publicising. And it has a pink tourmaline marquise. And this is using fine silver. And if you notice, I've actually inlaid a texture all the way around on the shank. So not only do the shapes have the texture, and the gold has a watercolor paper texture. So this is using watercolor paper to texture the silver before I use it. So one of the reasons of using the cabochon stones and not the faceted ones that you've seen this morning is that they're much simpler, and there's a lot going on with the texturing, with the shapes, with three-dimensionality. So I wanted something very clean and very simple, and cabochon stones sort of tick that box, which is great. So this range carries on through to the a brooch at the front there, and that is a series of different shapes all together, which are connected. Now, the idea behind this range is that I wanted to connect the shapes so they look like they were hovering. So on this pendant here, which I'm going to put on, I didn't want any links showing, any sort of hooks and jump rings. So I've just connected it at the back with little hinges. So every little component moves, but it is sort of hidden from the front. Now these are on very flexy cables, and they have great, nice and easy catches, because they can be a nightmare to put on. Cables behind behind your neck, so it's very easy. So this sits quite long, and it has the topaz cabochon in the middle, and it's the idea of the shape just cascading down, just sort of placed there, a little bit like you'd find them on a beach, so a little more haphazard, everything's at angles, and that's the kind of feel I was trying to get. And then I went on to make something without stones, which just is much shorter, but again has the same feel with the textures on it, and that hidden mechanism where you've just got the little riveted links in between. So that's been my new sort of departure this year, sort of my lockdown range, which has inspired me to create when we were all really stuck in full lockdown earlier on in the year. Yes, and this comes with earrings as well. These are topaz earrings. I get a lot of clients who commission me to do work with stones for their birthstones or particular anniversaries, or I've recently done a ruby ring for somebody in this range. And so you can, if you see a piece and you think, well, I'd really like that in amethyst anneal, I can always do it in the stones that you would like me to. We do lots of stuff to commission designer jewelers, so we're quite versatile. Now, the big difference that I want to explain about this range in terms of the costing of the other range on the side is that this new range here with the textures and the cabochon settings, every piece of gold is 18 karat sheet gold. So that has a different price point to say, so this pair of earrings here are in 18 karat sheet on the surface, which has been textured. And this pair here are silver, which have been gold plated. So that is why you may see a different price point as well on the site. That's quite an important thing to remember when you're buying jewelry. The price point will denote whether it's a plated. Now the plated will last a very long time, particularly on earrings, because they don't rub, they don't really have any friction. If I wouldn't really place a ring, it wouldn't last. So any rings always have to be in the pure metals themselves. So talking about the rings, I wanted to show you I've got, apart from my little tourmaline ring, I do have a series of other rings on my site, which are these ones here. And they are using the little limpet shapes that I showed you earlier. I don't know whether you can see, one's in red gold, 18 red, and one's in yellow. And what's quite nice about the design of these rings is they're actually designed to be worn together. So you can put them on, and I have a pair on here actually. I'm going to stack up ring extravaganza. So you can actually stack them together and they sit at angles on the finger. And then this little chappy here, this is a tourmaline, which is set on an 18 karat gold shank. And that actually can either go in between or at one end. And I have clients who then particularly say one particular stone, they wanted a topaz like that set with the little leaf. So the idea is that they all hover together, the shapes, when they're on the finger. So again, it's emphasizing what I'm trying to get across with these shapes, just sort of being set together and sort of hovering in place without any obvious links and ties. So I think that's what I'm trying to do, minimize the practicalities of how things link together and move, but still keeping it there. So yeah. So are there any questions, Alice? I've had a lot of information to take in. I feel I've just said.
We have, and it's been actually really lovely to actually be walked through, you know, all of the collection. So we have a couple of questions coming through. I think the first one is certainly on your necklaces. Can on the website can we choose the different lengths that we have?
Yes, we do. A lot of the pieces I do have, they normally come in 41 or 46 centimeters. That's 16, 18 inches. So something like these pendants down here will be in that length. Some of them I have got lengths on. Also the cables can come 16, 18 inch. So absolutely. If it's not in the variations on the site, just contact me directly and I can sort that for you, definitely. Also, another thing I wanted to point out is clip-on earrings. I do have some clients who don't have piercings and they're always like, oh, no one ever does any clips. I do certain earrings that can be clip-on. So, and something like an earring in this style could be a clip-on with that. You need a nice back, which is going to accommodate the clip. So you could put a clip quite easily from there to there on this earring, as you could on that. So a lot of my earrings you can do that with. You have to allow the space for it, because there is a real problem, clip-ons for people. So most of what is more difficult is earrings with small tops. I have done those as clips, but the tops have to be slightly larger to accommodate the clips. But that is something that can be done. Yeah.
We can see that you're mixing either stones or certainly with pearls, with gold and silver. Now, how do you recommend cleaning them? Because of course you've got a natural pearl and you've kind of got a harsh, not a harsh, but a solid material. What's the best way?
Okay, well, you have to, with pearls, you've got to be quite careful. You can't silver dip, you'll ruin them. So what you can do is you can, I wouldn't put them in sonic cleaners. I know people can buy little sonic cleaners and they're good for some things, but not for everything. You can get these great cloths, with silver impregnated with anti-tarnishing, silver cloths you get in supermarkets. Which is another great way of cleaning your jewellery, is actually up liquid and some warm water, and that really gets in. It's really brilliant for things like rings underneath when they get all clogged up. And other things you can silver dip. If it's completely silver, you could say silver dip the cufflinks, but you've got to be aware if things are hollow. You don't want to get silver dip trapped inside. So perhaps maybe a little rub with the cloth would actually be, it's probably your best bet. If things are, I sometimes get work back after about 2 or 3 years for a bit of TLC, and then I can actually professionally clean them, and people get them back and they're like, oh my God, it looks like new. So that is a service that I offer, and I'm happy to do for people. But something like the necklace, you could just literally get the silver cloth and rub each bead on it front and back, and they come up a treat. Yeah, which is great. And with the cables, you would just get your cloth and just push it through like that, and that gets any tarnish off. But ideally, when you buy jewellery, you should try and keep it in the box or the bag that you bought it in. The worst thing to do is actually keep jewellery in anywhere damp, like a bathroom is a nightmare. It will instigate tarnish within a few days in a bathroom. So don't leave your necklaces on the side.
That's a good tip. I'll remember that, thinking it's quite good. Otherwise, it might fall in the sink. That's probably a trick I do.
There is that.
Kind of just bringing it back, just to some of your inspiration, and we're just coming to the end, but I thought this was a really, really lovely question to ask. So if I've got a favourite shell, I've got a favourite stone, are we able to send you pictures? Can you use that for reference? Is that something that we can think about doing?
Yeah, no, totally. I have done very much with stones. Clients have sent me pieces of jewellery with very beautiful stones in them, but the jewellery is not that great. So I've freed the stones and then put them in one of my pieces, and it transformed them. I do a lot of that, of commissioning or taking work apart from people with, the things that they've inherited that they don't wear, that are stuck in a box, but it's actually got a really beautiful antique diamond in, and I've taken it apart and then incorporated it within my style, and it's sort of transformed it. But if there's a particular, yes, there's a particular thing that you are inspired by it on a marine level or anything, I really love this sort of shape, absolutely, I can do a necklace along those lines, yes, definitely, because that's more my thing as well. Wonderful. So, but yes, stones, reusing stones is very much something that I think people don't do enough of these days, and often once I did a commission recently with an emerald, which was really old, and we got it out of the setting, we had it cleaned up, and I actually had the table of it, which is the top of the stone, repolished, and it was just beautiful. And then we reset it in a modern setting, and the girl loved it, and she'd inherited it from her grandmother, and she'd never worn it before, so now she wears it all the time. So it's lovely to give things a new lease of life, definitely.
It's all right. We're just coming to the end now, so I'd like to say a big thank you for your time, and it's been really lovely to walk through the collection and to see some pieces. And of course, for everyone that's watching, thank you very much for joining us this afternoon. And you can actually go and find Annie's collection over on Handmade Chelsea online, so please do visit. And of course, we do offer the live chat option, so I've seen we haven't been able to get through all the questions. You are very welcome to click on Annie's page and it says live chat, or to go to our live chat function. Now don't worry, Annie's not sitting by the computer 24 hours a day, so if you do pop into her live chat room, pop her a question and then she can get back to you. It's one of the ways we're trying to make it very easy to speak to all of our exhibitors during our show. So once again, Annie, thank you very much. It's been really lovely. Thank you for inviting us to your studio and to your collection. Thank you.
Right, thank you everyone for joining. Okay.